class, it's Miss Bongiorno. Yesterday we talked about the Wampanoag people, and learning about their culture helped us understand what things were like way long ago and what things might have been like during the first Thanksgiving ever in 1621. Now let's talk about another group of people that we call the Pilgrims. Let's learn about their life and about their journey to America. Then we will do a fun project. Hi kids, I'm down here in the corner. So let's read this story called The Mayflower by Mark Greenwood. In 1620, the King of England expected his subjects to worship according to the laws of his church, but some people, called Puritans, believed that the Church of England was not true to their faith. They prayed in secret, afraid that they would be punished if the king found out. Some of the Puritans decided to leave England and cross the Atlantic Ocean. Far away in the New World, they hoped to worship without fear. The Pilgrims rowed out to the Speedwell and the Mayflower. So it started out with two ships. Those are the ships that would transport them across the vast ocean. But water leaked through the Speedwell's planking. Some of the passengers decided to abandon the voyage and come back to land. Others crowded aboard the Mayflower. So this is why it was so crowded. 102 passengers, including children, prayed for fair winds when the Mayflower sailed alone on September 6th. The Pilgrims didn't know what to expect when they reached their destination. The Mayflower was built to carry goods such as wine, clothes, iron, but not people. Between the decks, families were separated for privacy by wooden dividers. They shared the damp, crowded space with chickens and goats and pigs and dogs. Barrels of hard biscuits, beef, and fish. Casks of cheese, sacks of beans, and gallons of vinegar were stowed in the hold at the bottom of the ship. Look how crowded. Animals and people. Some people are sewing, some people are drinking some water and talking to each other. There's some of the animals back there. And then look at these little beds on the sides. Before the journey, the ship's master, Christopher Jones, had sailed the Mayflower only a short few trading trips between England and Europe. But now he had to set across miles and miles of ocean. Steady winds carried the Mayflower. Weeks passed by. Below the decks, children listened to stories by the lantern light. After about a month at sea, dark clouds gathered on the horizon. October was the start of the stormy season. The wind began to bluster. The ship rose and fell. Finally, the sky cleared and winds calmed. After 65 days at sea, many pilgrims were sick. 2 people had died. But at daybreak on November 9th, the weary faces smiled at the sight of land on the horizon. Before the Pilgrims set foot ashore, they wrote down some laws to govern themselves. Today, this document is known as the Mayflower Compact. Some Pilgrims stayed aboard the ship while others explored the wilderness. By mid-December, they had chosen a place to settle, called Plymouth. Remember that? The Pilgrims began building houses, but the snow was very thick, and many people fell ill that first winter. On March 16th, 1621, an Indian approached the settlement. "Welcome, Englishmen," he said. His name was Samoset. He had learned to speak English from fishermen. Squanto, another Indian, came to live with the Pilgrims. He taught them how to plant corn and fish. He introduced them to the powerful Wampanoag leader, Massasoit. Though they had suffered great hardship, the Pilgrims had found the freedom that they prayed for. That fall, Massasoit and 90 of his warriors joined the Pilgrims for 3 days of feasting, and we call this Thanksgiving. Wow, that was really interesting. Now, I want you kids to know that even though that story was filled with cartoon drawings, it was actually based off of real information and it contained facts. So that means that that book was non-fiction. You know all about non-fiction. Now let's move on to our project. Since we just learned that the Mayflower ship was sloshed around during the journey and pounded by waves, I thought it would be cool if we worked on some science and tried to make a boat that will float. Take a look at some of the supplies I've found around my classroom. I'm sure you might have some of these things at your house, so feel free to try this experiment with me. We'll take each one of these things and dip them in water to see if they sink or float. So there is my container of water. Here we go. First up, paper. What do you think will happen? Oh, wow. It's absorbing the water. That means it's taking water in it. It's getting soft and flimsy. I think paper is a no. Let's try the wooden sticks. Hey, those are floating pretty good. They're light enough to stay above the surface. I say that's a yes. Maybe we can use these. Let's try the plastic cubes. It's sort of under the water a little bit. And I think that's because it's got a hole in it. And that hole fills up with water and makes it drop. Nope. What about tin foil? Let's try. Hey, that's floating pretty good. Maybe we can use tin foil for our ship. What about this paper roll? Oh, nope. That filled up with water right away. And brought it all the way below. That's a no for me. This pipe cleaner, it's light and it's fuzzy. Maybe it will float. Oh no. Why do you think it sank like that? Yeah, I think all these little hairs got wet and heavy. This is no good for our ship. Let's try some styrofoam. What do you think? Nice. These are great. And if you've ever swam in a swimming pool and used this pool noodle, you know that they float really good. We'll use these. Now let's try a straw. It's light. So far so good. Let's see if it can handle some rain. Pretty good. Even though it has some holes in it, it stayed up pretty good. We'll put it here just in case. And last we have bubble wrap. Bubble wrap keeps things from breaking in packages, and it has these little air bubbles. Oh wow, that floats really good. I think it's because of the air bubbles. I guess we'll use this for our ship. Time to build the Mayflower with some of the materials we liked. Let's have a look, shall we? It's worked! Oh, it's magnificent! Would you look at that? The waves and the storm will not sink it. You've done it! I hope you kids enjoyed this video. Try to build your own Mayflower at home. I'll see you soon.